All right, you guys, why you should stop smoking weed. Um, I used to be a habitual smoker, right? I started with, and gradually at about 18, 19 years old, doing it maybe once in a while to on the weekends, to the weekends plus Monday, weekends plus Monday, Tuesday. And then you see how it goes from there. Spirals out of control, becomes a habit, becomes something you can't live without. I used it as a social lubricant, is how I justified it to myself. And obviously, the smoking part came with some health issues, of course. But nevertheless, I thought it was cool because I was like, look, I'm not into drinking as much. It's not something I enjoy. Let me just dabble in this. And I've had to use it before for reasons that I would justify. So for example, when I was like 19 years old, I smoked weed because I was like trying to get over a breakup. So that was like my excuse, like, oh, I'm coping with it, right? And like with anything else in life that I used weed for, was that no matter what, those feelings still were there, right? So it's like if you try to escape it, you're never gonna confront it. Um, and then at the tail end of it, right, more recently, I've had like about a year off where I haven't smoked weed and I haven't touched any cannabis. Um, and the last sort of part of it, right, the gradual weaning of the weed was where I said, okay, I won't smoke it anymore, but a healthy way to ingest it would be through edibles, right? Is how I kind of justified it. And I would, I guess I could say that I felt fairly productive. Like I would use it for my workouts. I would use it to sort of get myself into this Zen state and kind of go work out. And I felt good, right? I'm not gonna tell you I didn't feel good, but the reality was I was like, well, if I need to live life, um, let me give you this line, right? And it makes so much sense. Like when you're high, it's a movie. When you're sober, it's a documentary. All right. And kind of to put it in perspective, it's like when I was high, it was kind of like it was easy to kind of look at things and think, oh, this is going well, this is good, this is fun, this is lively, this is, uh, you know, insert any positive remarks you want. So when I wasn't high, it's like you strip all that nonsense away, that filter, right? That allows you to see things in a better, in a more bright manner, right? And I didn't have that escape anymore, right? I had to deal with things head on, and that made me kind of realize that like it was gonna be hard. It wasn't gonna be easy. But after a few months, it got to the point where I was like, I could never see myself wanting to get back on that again. That feeling of like anxiousness that I would feel when I was high, even though I felt good, it just was not something I realized looking back now that I want to get back into. So the point is, if you really want to confront your reality, if you want to face it, right, it's gonna be difficult. It might even be ugly. It might be disappointing. It might be depressing. It might be frustrating. But the point is that you take that sort of filter off, right? That lens in which you look at life and deal with things, and you face it, right? And you won't know until you're in it. And don't look at it as a temporary thing, right? I was always so scared of thinking like, could I ever stop? Right? I would say, oh, I'll take a couple breaks. But the reality was I needed to stop for good, right? For good. And and now it's so far away, right? It's so far away from what I used to be that I can't imagine life doing that ever again. Um, and so if you're in that situation where you feel like I don't know if I ever want to stop doing this, I would say do the hard things. That's what matters in life, is doing the hard things. And stopping weed, if you really enjoy it and you've made it a habit and you've done it for a long enough time, is a very difficult thing to do. I'm not saying it isn't, but as a man, you want to test yourself. This is one way to test yourself, right? I'm choosing to do something difficult, and I'm going to do it anyways. All right. So if you're afraid of doing something like that, do it anyway, right? Um, so I hope this helps. Um, and yeah, All right, I'll see you in the next one.